Good morning, everybody. How the devil are you today? This is, shall we call it, episode number one.
Number
one of a little venture called Grey Matters, which I think, I was just thinking, well, what do we call this?
What's the only thing we've got in common?
We come from the same city.
We're
from the same hemisphere. We're from the same place. So, right, okay, yeah, Grey Matters. I don't know where this is going to go. Might just be an ego trip just to talk about ourselves, which I'm not averse to doing. So, let us introduce ourselves. I'm Gary, and this is Alison.
I'm Alison. I'm based in Birmingham. I'm an ex-interior designer, but once an interior designer, always an interior designer, and I do a little bit of modelling.
So when we were sort of giving ourselves a little what do we used to have, a debrief, we said we thought say talk about where we are kind of right now.
How the hell did we get there? But where do you want to start? Because I think everything that you did before brings you to here.
Oh, without a doubt.
But coincidentally, yes, I can talk about why I'm here.
Right.
I was an interior designer for 40 years and I had my own business and I worked every hour God sent, and I was a person without hobbies and I never knew how I'd stop working.
Yeah.
And I was stopped in the street in 2019 at Clerkenwell Design Week by a model scout. Thought she was insane.
Yeah.
Because I'd spent 60 plus years avoiding the camera. And then COVID hit, and in effect it killed my business. And that gave me a chance, so I had to learn how to be on my own, how to fill my time, and I just don't do anything. If I start doing something, I start doing it because I intend to do it properly.
Yes. We like that.
There's absolutely no point starting something and then fannying about and fluffing it. So I joined a number of different agencies, I got photos done, and I wasn't prepared to call myself a model until I'd been paid for a job.
Oh, I think that's a very, very, very valid point.
Because there's an awful lot of models out there, but just getting your kit off in the kitchen doesn't count.
It really doesn't. Only talking about that probably about 4 or 5 minutes ago.
Yeah. And we were dressed in the kitchen.
So what was your first job?
My first job was actually with my personal trainer. He had he was involved in a company that made CBD drinks, and they did a really big shoot actually. In retrospect, I had no idea. And that was the very first thing that I did, and they paid me for it. So.
But was that through you knowing?
It was through me
knowing him, not through an agency.
Yeah, not through an agency.
So what was your first agency job?
My first agency job.
They're always good, the first ones.
Yeah, the first one was for a company based in Sheffield who did 3D heads that they then sold to gaming people. So you went in there, you had your hair slicked back, and in an array with 1 million cameras.
You become an avatar.
Become an avatar.
Ooh.
Which I've never seen. Someone said they'd seen me.
Yeah.
Crone, I think it was. But there you go.
How charming.
But that was actually well paid, and it was fascinating, and guys were really charming. And that was the first and pretty much nearly the last job that I got with my first agent.
Okay. First and last?
I have done one more with them subsequently, but they haven't actually put a lot of effort in it.
No. It's that is one of
their thing, I think.
It's one of the things we've discussed about agencies. It's a kind of strange old world, especially when you are a niche demographic, which I'm very...
And a niche within a niche.
A niche within a niche within a niche, yes. Yeah. How many levels... It's like the 7 levels of nicheness.
Nichery.
So I think like the 7th level is when you've taken your nose off and you've got...
but then that would probably be quite popular these days.
difficult.
In the tick box era.
Yeah.
But,
Anyway, so right, okay. So lockdown was a pivot because today is the anniversary of lockdown.
Yeah.
It's also the 28th birthday of my daughter Daisy, so you will probably never ever watch this because anything that your dad does gives you the eye roll treatment,
which is fair enough.
And I totally get it.
Yeah,
and if I didn't expect that, I'd be a fool. But so first day of coronavirus lockdown, which I'm going to say was a pivotal moment, not necessarily kind of career-wise, because I was still in this sort of transitionary.
You were already modelling though, weren't you?
I'd already done a bit, but nothing kind of modelling that I wanted to do. I'd say my first job was with Ugly, and I was a motorbike driver with I'd say probably a 12-foot elf on the back for elves behaving badly.
Can you ride a motorbike?
I cannot. They did not ask me that question before I got to the shoot, and when we were in Shepherd's Bush outside the BBC studios, they were saying, okay, just hop on the bike and ride up and down, and it was like, sorry guys, I've never ridden a bike. I know it looks like I should do, but I don't.
It's all right. I have, and I don't look like I should.
Well, there you go. That was my first job. I'd say the jobs I've had from Ugly, not a huge amount, but they've generally been kind of really, really interesting ones. And I actually did get a job in 2020, but it was in the end part of the year, in between the gap between lockdown 1, lockdown 2, and I did do a music video for Punctual, which was just such a blast, and it was all things that were totally new to me. That I think it was the first time I'd ever done a Zoom call, and because that was
suddenly castings didn't happen.
That's it. I would say when I've actually physically had to go for an audition or a casting, it's like, oh my! I mean, I'd done self tapes. But I'd never, it was not until well after lockdown 2, I think, that I actually did a physical casting, and it was for a phone company, not a big one, and I had no idea what to expect, so I went down to London, and it's just one of those things that like you go into what's now the kind of usual thing. It's a bit of rented space, and you go in and there's somebody on reception, and then maybe a couple of people waiting for you. So I get in there and I had no idea what to expect, which is they want to see you front on, side. Then I was expecting to do be given some dialogue. I don't know, but what I was actually given to do was look out of a window, and when I heard somebody clap, turn my head and react that I'd heard it, not surprise or shock or anything like that. It was just turn my head. Didn't get that one, so a bit disappointed on that one. But it was my first ever Zoom. And I was attempted to teach. Yeah, it was 3 of us to do this TikTok dance we had to do. It was much more complicated than I thought, even though there was a total of 16 moves, and I think one of that was something, and there was something to do with like that. Even when I've watched the videos, you can see me scratching my head. I was just so totally lost, and I think we had about half an hour to rehearse it with the 3 of us.
Did the others manage it?
They didn't know. We were all as equally discoordinated as each other. So there are a few sort of kind of funny memories attached to that. And I'd say the woman that was the wife, I don't think it was a job that she should have taken on the day. But anyway, here we are, and it was I take that was a really nice job.
It just reminded me when you heard of Sane Seven, brilliant photographer, and she approached me to take some photographs of me from Instagram, and I didn't appreciate her. So I went up to Liverpool, had these shots, lovely. They're in my portfolio still because they're really special. But she's gone on to Sunday Times. You know, she's going great guns. And she approached me because she'd been appointed to do an ad, and she thought I'd be perfect for it.
Yeah.
Brilliant. You don't need to cast. I've recommended you. You've got the job.
Yeah.
Then I got COVID.
Oh.
And I had to give them my. Let's say sorry, I can't.
That's kind of a bit of a bummer, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was so mortified because it then went on and won an award.
Yeah.
How great I could be.
I did. Yeah. It was. I think it was probably 2021. I joined this little agency called Everybody's. I must get in touch with the lady because she was so nice, and I was shortlisted for a job which would have involved me walking on a beach, eating an ice cream, sliding down a water slide. It was all these things like, are you happy to be seen walking along the beach in swimming trunks, eating an ice cream? Are you happy to be seen in a swimming pool, going down a slide in your swimming trunks? Yeah. And it was like, yes. And I think it was something like 3 days in Athens. Oh, and it was, I'd never, until that time, I'd never had a job that paid travelling, and it would have been things like there was like stipends, and it was like, this is a crazy old world. But yeah, the director on that, he got coronavirus, and it got, I think it got it went in a different direction. In a different direction because that's do we feel that is the cop-out phrase?
Oh, utterly. You know full well. Actually, what I think you know is they quite like the look of you, but then someone's mate gets involved. They already know who they're going to use, but they have to go through the process of pretending that they're actually pushing it out to tender. Sorry, this is my old world cynicism coming in.
Yes.
It's all predetermined anyway, and they just have to go through the motions.
Yeah, and sometimes you do feel like, because I was booked. I think it was for a Rag and Bone Man video. Which I kind of really wanted to do. And then it was like 2 or 3 days before, it was like there was some sort of scenario.
It is an insane industry.
It is.
See, I thought my old industry was disrespectful and time wasting and disorganised. To have a hard pencil, which means that you have to keep the dates. Okay, you haven't got the booking, but you have to keep the dates because they're still like woo, woo, and then not be released until 5 o'clock the night before for a shoot that's going to start at 8 o'clock in the morning in London.
No.
I mean,
indeed.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
And I would name names, but I'm not going to, but they're a big name company that did that, and I think...
I was on a heavy pencil for maybe the Royal Mail, and they kind of liked the looks of my hand tattoos because the self-tape was all of me opening and closing boxes. Which actually, I think I should be the face of Amazon receiving parcels, because this household has been recommended for an Amazon business account twice, and it's not for me. It's somebody else. But anyway,
It's
yeah.
so
So
embarrassing.
yeah, I was on a heavy pencil. I mean, come on. Yeah, it was 40. It was 10 days over a 14-day period. I would have only have been used for one of those days.
But you have to keep. The
But
whole
you
course.
have to, and I think that was a stage when I decided, well, until I'm there,
It's not real.
it's not real.
No,
It's
not real.
just
Because it
part
means
of the
that
process.
potentially you're going to say no to other jobs. So no, I'm on a pencil. I'm technically not available, and you lose everything.
Yeah, I certainly realised that. Now I think this is probably my 7th year in the business of some sort of thing. I used to faithfully keep.
Have you actually made a note of the dates?
Oh yeah. If you go back through my
Yeah.
phone calendar, there would be, all sorts of details.
Everything that you did a self-tape for, you'd make.
Oh, not
note of.
even
Sure.
even things that I'd not done a self-tape for.
Oh,
It was
right.
just like, we're now into something like year. It's called Silo. That it's on Apple TV. I think for the first year that it was being filmed before release for season 1, I would say I had 3 availability checks a week for multiple days.
Never got any of
and never got any of them. And then you start to at this time of you did. I started to take things personally.
I feel a bit sorry for them because these people are clearly so unsure of their own decision-making process. They must be, their level of anxiety about, am I making the wrong decision? Will someone better come along at the very last minute?
I'm sure.